Alright folks, Pliskin by 51mm, and today I'm doing a video on caliber mix-ups. What that means, as it implies, is that you have two rifles out on the range that shoot a similar cartridge, but the bullet itself is different, and you can mix it up and put the wrong round in the wrong gun. Take for example here these two cartridges right here. This is 308 and 243. Now the differences between the two, as you see them here from a certain distance, they don't look like there's much difference in them, but 243, which is this one right here, shoots a 6mm bullet, and 308 shoots a 30 caliber bullet. And if you're not paying attention while you're out shooting, you could accidentally put the 243 in your 308. And I have done it. I didn't do it on the range, but I did it here at home and just practicing. I took a already shot 243. The primer had been popped already, and I stuck the cartridge in the chamber of my 308. I just put it in the magazine and let it strip the cartridge home like it would a 308 bullet. And it did, in fact, chamber in my M1A, the 243 cartridge did. What would happen if I fired that would be, is if it was loaded, the bullet would go out the barrel, but it wouldn't be touching the rifling. It would be just bobbing in there. And the case would fire form to the chamber, so this would expand out. The shoulder and neck here, this would expand out to a 308 type dimension. It wouldn't be exact, but it would fire form to the chamber. And that'd be kind of dangerous because that bullet could go out the side of the barrel or blow the gun up or something. Something you wouldn't want to try. So that's just one example, 308 and 243. The cartridge design for the two cartridges is exactly the same. Same profile, same length. It's just the difference in the bullet up here. Now, you know, if you're paying attention and you're being careful, you won't have a problem, because if you get them in close and you look, the profile is different up here on the shoulder and neck, because this is a smaller bullet and this is a bigger bullet. But if you're out shooting and you're not paying attention and you got a bunch of ammo everywhere, which happens a lot when me and my buddies shoot, you could accidentally grab the wrong one, this one here, and put it in the M1A, which is why when we go shooting and we have the Remington 700 ADL 243 and the M1A out, if we're shooting the M1A, I remove all 243 ammo off the table and put it back in my backpack, and if we're shooting the 243, I remove all the 308 off the table, so that way there's not a chance for a mix-up. This is just one instance where this could happen with two rifles that I own, my M1A and my Remington 700. This is 25-06 and 270, and the same thing could happen with these two. And it's even harder to discern at a distance the difference in the two cartridges, as you can see, because the bullet profile and the neck and shoulder seems more similar than the 30 and 6mm. These are two cartridges for my dad's rifles, his Remington 700 40X and his Remington 700 Sendero in 270. Both of these cartridges are based off of 30-06. One's just 27 caliber and the other is 25. And a mix-up could happen here too, but it usually doesn't. And we have been out to the range before and had both rifles out, the 270 and the 25-06, and we had to be very sure and very careful that we did not mix the two up, because the case length, same with the 240-3308, the case length is the same, it's just the neck and bullet are different, and that could be a bad combination if you put the wrong bullet in the wrong gun. So far it hasn't happened too much with me and my buddies, but I have seen one time, and it was a different instance. Let's see. This is 308 next to 7.65 by 53 millimeter right here. See, 7.65 by 53, which is this one here, is longer than 308, but at a distance one couldn't really discern because they look kind of similar. I mean, if you're just looking around and grabbing bullets up off a table, you wouldn't pay attention to profile. New shooters anyway. And I've kind of caught myself doing it one or two times, but I quickly changed myself and correct my mistake, because I look at the butt stamp back here to see what's what, if I'm not sure if what I grabbed was the right cartridge, but usually that doesn't happen to me. What happened this one particular instance was me and my buddy was out shooting the M1A and 1909 Argentine Mauser. And he had been shooting the M1A, which of course shoots 308, and this is some leftover ZQI. And he had been shooting the M1A M14, and he wanted to shoot the Mauser. So he picked up the Mauser, and first thing he did was he reached into one of these boxes of ZQI and he pulled out a 308 and put it in the 7.65 Mauser. And I caught him and I told him, no, wait, that isn't the right bullet. It's like this, the Mauser shoots 7.65 by 53. And he almost put a 308 in the 7.65, and I almost bet that 7.65 by 53, well, 7.62 by 51, I mean, would go into the chamber of my 7.65. I've also run into an instance where we have a bunch of surplus ammo, and a lot of it is 7.65, but then there's some of it that is for rifles that we don't own no more. And one time I grabbed up a bullet that I thought was a 7.65 bullet and tried to put it in my Mauser, my 7.65, and turns out it was an 8mm cartridge. I'll go get an 8mm and show you the difference between 8mm and 7.65. Alright. This is 7.65 by 53. This is 7.92 by 57. Or 8mm as it's commonly known. Now, the profile of these two, see there on the camera, they're almost the same at a moderate distance. I mean, they look the same, but when you get in close and hold them butt stamp to butt stamp back here, you can tell one is longer than the other. 8mm is 4mm longer than 7.65. Now, what I did is I just grabbed up a bunch of ammo out of the cabinet back here. It's in the room in here. We keep all the 7.65 surplus ammo in it. And what I did is I grabbed some of these 8mm here, but I didn't know they were 8mm because just to look at one and not really get down and look, like, you know, compare, they look the same. So I grabbed a bunch of these 8mm up and I went to go load one in my Mauser, and the bolt wouldn't close on it. And I was like, what the hell? You know, I was just like, so why isn't this going in my gun? And when I got back home, I looked the two over and it was like, oh, that's a different cartridge. And then I got looking around and doing some reading, and I was like, oh, that's an 8mm. That's been a few years ago. It wasn't chamber in the rifle, so there was no danger of it going off, but, you know, I didn't pay attention, and I grabbed up the wrong ammo and thought it was 7.65 by 53 when it was 8mm. 8mm is fun to shoot. I've shot an 8mm Mauser. Oh my God, it's a fun rifle to shoot. Very fun. Hard hitting and pretty accurate. But anywho, when you're out shooting with your buddies or target shooting and you have two rifles at the range that day that have similar profile cartridges, or in the case of 25-06, 270, and 243 and 308 who have the same cartridge profile, same lengths but different bullets, just be very careful on what you're doing and always double check the ammo. And if you have two rifles out that day that have a similar cartridge, like case length, like the 243 and 308, just keep the ammo separated. That is what I do when I go shooting with my friends. We keep the 243 and the 308 away from each other, because all it would take is just reaching around and, you know, seeing a 243 sitting there and wouldn't think anything of it. You know, one of my buddies grab up a 243 and slap it in one of my M1A mags along with 308, you know, they mix it up, you know, it could be a bad day. So that's why I do my best to keep the ammo separated, keep the 6mm away from the 30 caliber and all that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I figured that would be a little interesting topic, one that I've had some experience with. Not necessarily going off, but like I said, I had a friend one time, he put 308 in my 1909 Mauser, so, and I caught him on it. And it can happen, you know, people get excited, they're having fun shooting, and they could just pick up any one of these and put it in the wrong chamber, and you got a bad day. Anyway, this has been Pliskin by 51mm. Subscribe, rate, comment, like, dislike. Check out my other videos. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you all in the next video.